Jonas Siegenthaler might need surgery, but on the bright side, Mike Yegorov is thriving with the Boston University Terriers. We have a lot to break down in today's episode of Locked On Devils. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Elliott scores! Oh, Steven stepped up, nailed it. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here at the Locked On Network. I'm your host, College Hockey Club play announcer, Devils Rider Pucks Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member, Trey Matthews. Okay, to kick off today's episode, we're going to talk about Jonas Siegenthaler and his injury update because reportedly he's going to get surgery today when this episode goes live, and I want to talk about the circumstance and how that impacts the Devils. Then in the second segment, we're going to hear from Jack Hughes, Team USA, Team Sweden, Team Canada, Team Finland. Practice is underway for all those teams in preparation for the Nations Faceoff tournament. It's going to start in Montreal, then it's going to make its way to Boston. I'm really excited to cover the events when it comes to the States. But speaking of Boston, in the third and final segment, we're going to talk about Mike Yegorov. He's a friend of the show, and he's been killing it for the Boston University Terriers. I'm sure Jay Pandolfo is really happy with his young goalie from the Omaha Lancers. All right, let's talk about Siegenthaler and what's going on with his injury. As you may recall, Siegenthaler in the game against the Pittsburgh Penguins lost an edge, went crashing into the boards in the first period. He had to be helped off the rink. He did not return. And at the conclusion of the game, head coach Sheldon Keefe said that Siegenthaler was going to miss some time. And when Keefe says that a player is going to miss some time, be prepared to be without that player for a few weeks. And that's the circumstance involving Siegenthaler. However, we were never given the severity of the injury. Does he need surgery? How long is he going to be out for? Well, a Swiss newspaper that goes by the name of Blick recently published an article talking about Siegenthaler's injury. Just taking snippets from it and translating it to English, it's basically said that Siegenthaler is scheduled to undergo surgery today. His communications agency announced on Monday. The 27-year-old will be out for a few weeks, in quotation marks. Christy Flannery of the Hockey News specified and said that a Devils spokesperson said there is no update to provide right now on Siegenthaler and will provide one when one is available. And Christy even said that she would be surprised if he was ready to go after the Four Nations break. And I even echoed it on the show. I said, be prepared to be without Siegenthaler for a good while. And then my boss over at Pucks and Pitchforks, Nick Villano, added on and said that the article didn't really say much more, but Siegenthaler is out for a few weeks, but nothing specific. So there's your brief summary as to what was said in the article. And my main question is, did something get lost in translation? Because we've seen this happen before. If you recall, there was a reporter that interacted with Shimon Nemitz, and there were these like bold statements from Nemitz saying that he was thinking about asking for a trade out of the Devils organization just because he was playing in Utica. He wasn't really happy. People came to the conclusion that something got lost in translation. We haven't seen an official statement from the actual Devils media team, so I don't really know what's true or not, but based on that article, Siegenthaler is supposed to get surgery today at some point when this episode goes live. So a lot can happen within the next few hours. I don't really know, but let's just say that Siegenthaler does need surgery. That is a big blow for the Devils because Siegenthaler has been having a silently good year. He has 92 blocks, which is second on the team. He has a defensive point share rating of 6.9, which ranks fourth on the team. He has 75 hits, seventh on the team, a point share rating of 6.7, eighth on the team, and expected goals for rating is 33.4, 11th on the team. Siegenthaler is an anchor piece on the Devils' blue line. He doesn't produce that many points, but that's not really his job. In terms of defensemen, Siegenthaler is one of the players that sort of balances everything out. What do I mean by that? Well, when you think of Dougie Hamilton, Luke Hughes, they focus more on offense. But to Luke Hughes' credit, he has definitely elevated his game defensively. But players like Dylan, Kovacevic, Pesci, Siegenthaler, they focus more on defense. And losing Siegenthaler, that is a big blow. Now, if he does need surgery, who's going to replace him? Well, for the time being, the Devils have given Shimon Nemitz a couple games, and his return to the NHL against the Golden Knights, it was anything but spectacular. It was quite honestly hard to watch, but in the game against the Canadiens, he sort of redeemed himself. Nothing really to look twice at, but I think Nemitz will get better over time, and here's his chance. If he actually is frustrated in the AHL, then he has to make the most of it because you don't know if that opportunity is going to present itself again. And I don't really know. This is just speculation on my end, but Nemitz is a quote-unquote big-name player when it comes to trade capital, and that's something the Devils have been lacking all season, which is if they want to make a splashy move, who do they include in trade packages? Obviously, Dawson Mercer's name comes to mind, but I think a close second would be Shimon Nemitz. Now, I'm not saying trade Nemitz at all, but I'm just saying like for Tom Fitzgerald, he might consider Nemitz in a trade package. Seamus Casey could be an option as well. We already saw what he did the first few games of the year. He really solidified himself quite nicely, but we knew that his stint was going to be short-lived. But another name that isn't really talked about all that often is Santeri Hatakka. We saw Hatakka last season, and in a small sample size, he actually put up some solid productive work. So I think Hatakka coming back from injury, he recently cleared through waivers. Now he is on the Comets roster, which I was actually a little nervous that a team might claim him off waivers, similar to what happened with Nick DeSimone, but maybe you could give Hatakka a chance. But my overall thoughts on the matter is that I want to know what the timeline is. Okay, so we know that Siegenthaler got hurt in the game against the Penguins. He looked to be in serious pain. But how long is he going to be out for? And if he does need surgery, what's the circumstance? Like, did he tear his ACL? Did he tear a meniscus? Does he have a broken bone? What's going to happen? Now, I know that hockey players heal fast, but if he has a torn ACL, this is just worst case scenario, then we might not see him until next season. Or if he has a torn meniscus, then maybe he'll be out for like a month or two. I don't really know. I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to sit up here and speculate on anything, but I'm just saying, with all due respect to that Swiss newspaper, something might have gotten lost in translation. I'm not saying that's the end-all, be-all, but we've already seen it happen with Shimon Nemitz, so I'm not saying that it's out of the realm of possibility. We'll see what happens, and I'm sure the Devils will put out a statement sooner rather than later, but just want to update you guys on Jonas Siegenthaler and what's going on, because like many of y'all, I'm just sitting on pins and needles because Siegenthaler is important on the Devils' blue line. All right. We're going to hear from Jack Hughes momentarily, but before we continue, let me tell you guys about Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy, just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the candidates faster. I've actually used Indeed before to book myself some play-by-play gigs. I use it to this very day. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/locked on right now and support my show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. Okay. Team USA recently practiced up in Montreal in preparation for the start of the Four Nations Faceoff tournament. I'm really looking forward to it. Jack Hughes spoke to the media. Here's what he had to say about the tournament and also the injury circumstance surrounding his brother, Quinn Hughes. Take a listen.
What was it like to be out there with your new teammates here?
Yeah, it was good. It was fun to put the gear back on, put the USA jersey back on. That was really fun. So good for our group to get out there, and I think we had a good little skate there. So that was a fun start, and hopefully we can build on today.
And then obviously with your line there, you're just getting your first touches together. What kind of excites you about playing with Austin and Jake?
Yeah, I think everyone knows the kind of caliber players they are. So. Should be really fun, and hopefully we'll see what happens, if we stick before, but a lot of great players in the team, and definitely really fun to be playing with those guys, and we'll see how the next few days go.
Tough not to have Quinn here. I know you were looking forward to that, understandably.
Yeah, that was definitely, something I was really looking forward to, but it's hockey at the end of the day. Like, people get injured all the time, and I was looking forward to, spending time with them, but it's all good, and hopefully he heals up and is ready to go for a big second half with Vancouver.
Can you explain how? Yeah.
How would you describe the emotions?
Yeah, obviously it's frustrating. He's not the only one, though. I mean, there's a lot of good players that are injured and can't play in this tournament, but definitely something he's fighting over, for a week now since he got injured, and he wants to be a part of this, and was really excited to come with this group and put the USA jersey back on. So it's frustrating, but if you're injured, you're injured.
Did he have a message for you, at all, even though he can't be here?
Probably just damn, sorry, man. That was about it. There's not much of a message. He was just I'm sorry. I was so pumped, but I'm we're both going to play a long time. At some point, we'll play maybe the third year. Last year's All-Star game didn't happen. This year, this. So hopefully Olympics next year, we'll get it done.
I was going to say, is there some consolation in knowing that there will be more cracks at best on best potentially with him?
Yeah, I mean, that's the exciting part. Today's day one of this tournament, but you're hoping it's kind of day one for a new future for USA hockey. No one's played in the Olympics. In 10 years? So I think this is a fresh start and a lot of new faces, and some high-end players in this tournament that have never played in the Olympics. So with next year coming, I think it's a really exciting start for us, and this tournament's just a start for us and something we'd like to play really well in and win.
Jack Hughes hinting at a Quinn Hughes reunion, maybe in New Jersey. I wouldn't read too far into that. Obviously, he's referring to All-Star game festivities and the Four Nations tournament. I said it in the prior episode, I'm a little disappointed that Quinn won't be participating in Four Nations just because he is the reigning Norris Trophy winner. And I would love to see the dynamic between him and his brother in this event. And I'm still riding with Team USA, but losing Quinn Hughes, that's definitely a big blow, if you ask me. But still having Austin Matthews, Jack Hughes, both Tkachuk brothers, Connor Hellebuck, who is arguably the greatest goalie in the NHL right now, not all time, right now. So don't take what I said out of context, but I think this Team USA unit is in good hands right now. But I'm glad that Jack was having a good time at his media availability. He was smiling. He was talking about the interactions he's had with his brother, and now we're only down to one Hughes brother in Four Nations. We were anticipating all three, then it turned to two, and now we're at one. But I'm still looking forward to seeing what Jack can do with best of the best on the Team USA roster. And I saw a question float around on social media like, are you actually excited for Four Nations? And I'll just say this might be a hot take, but I think Four Nations is a better idea than the All-Star game because I think the All-Star game has become too much of a gimmick to the point where the players don't even try. But for this tournament, you're representing your country. So something bigger is at stake because you don't want to put on a bad performance for your country. That's not really patriotic if you ask me. So you up the ante a little bit. Now, it's a shame that Team Russia is not in the tournament. I would also like to see some German players, Czech players also compete in it, but it is what it is. And I'm not really going to complain with the product that's being presented right now. And the fact that merchandise was released so late, that's also a little puzzling if you ask me. But we're here, and I'm looking forward to the event when it comes to Boston next week. All right, we're going to talk about a Boston product right now. No, he's not a native of Boston, but he's playing for the Boston University Terriers and under head coach Jay Pandolfo, who's won a few Stanley Cups with the Devils. That is Mike Yegorov. But before we continue, let me tell you guys about FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel, and it keeps me more in touch with my Los Angeles Lakers who got Luka Doncic. They're going to become champions, and LeBron's going to get ring number 5. You can book that. Speaking of which, right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Okay, to close out today's episode, we're going to talk about Mike Yegorov. Now, Mike is a friend of the show. He appeared on it last month, shortly before he left the Omaha Lancers to join Boston University, which was a smart move on his end because with all due respect to Omaha, they're not really doing all that well in the USHL. But digressing a little bit, Yegorov has been excellent for the Terriers. I know a lot of people are surprised with his recent outings, but honestly, on my end, this was to be expected. I talked about it over the summer when he was first drafted by the Devils. I said he was ranked the #1 goalie in North America going into the draft. So not only did Tom Fitzgerald select Anton Salayev, who was ranked the #1 skater in Europe, but he got the #1 ranked goalie in North America in Yegorov. I think the problem why people forgot about Yegorov was, like I said moments ago, the Lancers just aren't a good team in the USHL. They were spiraling out of control. And in one particular game, Yegorov made 66 saves, but the Lancers still lost the game. So it overshadowed his great work because that was a franchise record. 66 saves in one single game? That's incredible. And courtesy of Daniel Moya, let me get you up to speed on what he's been doing for BU. In his debut with the Terriers, he stopped 23 of 24 shots giving him a .958 save percentage. He's had 2 more starts since. First, a 7-2 victory over the University of New Hampshire, then against Harvard University in the Bean Pot Tournament semifinals, where BU won 7-1. In the 2 games combined, he stopped 45 of 48 shots, which raised his save percentage to .944. That might be a small sample size, but I think it's a sign for what's to come for the Devils organization. And don't forget, the Lancers play-by-play announcer compared Yegorov to Martin Brodeur, saying that he's sort of an heir to him because he's so good in net. And he's also very intelligent. He knows where to position himself. I'm really high on Yegorov, and I think he does fit into the Devils' timeline. Obviously, I don't know what the plan for him is after this year. If I had to make an educated guess, I think he's going to stick at Boston University. There's really no rush to get him into the NHL, but I will say this. Jacob Markstrom is 35 years old. Jake Allen turns 35 in August. I don't know how much longer both Markstrom and Allen have in the NHL, but I think they still have a few years left. And I think that gives Yegorov plenty of time to develop. And we already know how good Russian goalies can be. We've seen it with Andrei Vasilevsky, Sergei Bobrovsky, Igor Shesterkin, and I hope Yegorov follows in their footsteps. I am really excited to see his development, and I'm looking forward to seeing how his tenure with the Terriers go. Jay Pandolfo, the head coach who's won a few Stanley Cups with the Devils, he's got a good one. And he's also being taught by Brian DeCord. Brian DeCord is the goalie coach for the Terriers, and Brian's son is Joey DeCord, who plays for the Seattle Kraken. He's also an alum of Arizona State University, so forks up. But digressing a little bit, Yegorov is in good hands, if you ask me, and I can't wait to see where his game takes him. But let me know your thoughts. Are you excited for the development of Mike Yegorov? Is he your new favorite Devils prospect to watch? And also share your thoughts on Jonas Siegenthaler's injury situation. If he does need surgery, how does that impact the Devils? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on podcast streaming service. Hit me up on my personal X Page app at TreyMatt4 or the show's X Page app at Locked On Devils. As for today's episode, that's all the time I have for you. Thanks for listening. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day in New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys next episode. Thanks for listening once again.